Red light? Yeah, I can hear it. Okay. Take two or so. Oh, it's a glorious morning. It's beautiful outside, despite the fact that it's -3. But the sun is shining, and that makes my heart happy and makes my heart sing. And I know that the sun is shining in your soul as well. I'm Mary Gabrielson. I'm your minister here at Unity Center, Milwaukee. And always, we are so glad when you can join us. And whether you're watching us right now at 10 a.m. or later in the day, anytime, we're happy to have you join us. So let's be about our spiritual business and begin with our statement of faith. There's only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotence, and the affirmation for our center. Thank you, God, that we have come to this place to release the past, celebrate the present, and embrace the future in love, peace, harmony, and prosperity. Our prayer for racial healing. We are here because we care. We are here because you care. We are here because I care. Let me be the peace and act the peace. Let us move our hearts to the highest and best of us and focus on racial healing for self, others, and the world in unity and through the name of Christ. Amen. This is Black History Month. And before I begin praying with those who have submitted prayer requests, I'd like to address um, someone or honor someone that many people are not familiar with. I told Julie yesterday that I was going to be talking about Mary Frances Berry. And she said, "Are you sure you don't mean?" And I said, "No, I'm sure." Mary Frances Berry is a scholar. She's currently living, thank you, and a little bit about her. She earned her PhD in American constitutional history from the University of Michigan in 1965. And she obtained her Doctor of Jurisprudence from the University of Michigan Law School in 1970. She became the first Black woman to lead a major research university in the United States when she was appointed Chancellor of the University of Colorado Boulder in 1976. During the late 70s, Berry took leave of absence to serve as the Assistant Secretary for Education in the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. She returned to academia in 1980. Berry's interests changed over time. Her early work focused on the relationship between African Americans and the United States judicial, political, and military institutions throughout American history. She later devoted increasing attention to issues relating to gender equality in addition to racial equality. Go, girl. Ms. Berry participated in the international campaigns for human rights and social justice. She co founded the Free South Africa movement in 1984, which eventually led to her arrest during demonstrations aimed at exerting pressure on the United States government to apply sanctions on the South Africa to free Nelson Mandela and end apartheid. Ms. Berry also served as the chairwoman on the United States Commission on Civil Rights from 1993 to 2004. She's received more than 30 honorary degrees, as well as numerous other honors and rewards. I am just sorry that I don't have a picture of her to share with you because she seems to be just an incredible being of light and someone that I would certainly like to connect with personally. So, prayer time. Let's just take a breath. And we devote our time and attention to nurturing and renewing prayer. And we breathe as a way of clearing a chattered and cluttered brain that settles us now into a peaceful stillness. That breath is how we reconnect with our own inner spiritual nature, which is wholeness and well being, recognizing our oneness with God. And so we are praying for those who are meeting changes in their life, and aren't we all in some way? For you, we affirm, I do not resist change, for I know that only God, the good, governs me, my circumstances, and my environment. Those who are needing prayers for forgiveness. The forgiving love of God sets me free, and I am at peace. For healing, and we have many, many within our personal realms and within our community that are needing healing. And so we hold this for them. There is nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. Nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed. For prosperity, God is my all sufficient source. God is my instant, constant, and abundant supply. For tension and hurry, gee, I wonder who has that. I work without strain. I walk without hurry. I live without aging, for I am in tune with the infinite. I want to hear myself say that again. I work without strain, walk without hurry, live without aging, for I am in tune with the infinite. For tranquility, I'm centered in the dynamic spirit of tranquility. I am refreshed, renewed, and at peace with life and with the world. For injustice and in harmony, we have to really work on this one. God's law of adjustment regulates all the affairs of my life, and all things are in divine order. So, as you read the newspaper and you listen to the news and you hear things that clearly are unjust in any way, shape, or form, fall back on this affirmation. It may not clear your vision immediately, but it will begin to settle and bring your heart and your mind into a coherence. The affirmation again is God's law of adjustment regulates all the affairs of my life, and all things are in divine order. So the quicker we can bring ourselves back to that place of peace of mind, the quicker we can begin to radiate that into our sphere of influence, into our circle. And the quicker we can bring that peace of mind and heart to others and help to overcome injustice and in harmony. And finally, for love, I'm a channel for the expression of the infinite love of God. I'm a channel for the expression of the infinite love of God. And so it is. So, as we come together in this new month of February, we celebrate love. And clearly, the color is pink. Are you in the pink? Love is the ability to attract, desire, and unify. The disciple is John, and John represents unconditional acceptance and forgiveness. The corresponding color is pink. It's located in the heart center. And the affirmation is I am a center of love. I am a center of love. I've asked Beth Hancock to read the daily word. Excuse me.
Good morning. I express the peace of God. Peace, be still. With these words, Jesus claimed his authority and calmed the stormy waters. Following Jesus' example, we too claim authority. In a stressful moment, we center our awareness in the divine presence that lives in us and expresses through us. This divine presence is perfect life, love, and wisdom. It is peace that nothing and no one can disturb. No matter what may be happening around us, at the center of our being, there is always peace. It is an aspect of our divine inheritance, as near as our next thought. We release all fear and tension and embrace the peace of God. As we do, divine peace radiates from the center of our being. It clarifies our thoughts, calms our emotions, and relaxes our bodies. In every situation, we are a presence of peace. And from Isaiah, we read, "Those of steadfast mind you keep in peace because they trust in you."
Yeah. Now we're going to be treated to a wonderful musical selection from Julie Thompson.
My mother, when love is gone, my mother, when love is gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. My father, when peace is gone, my father, when peace is gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. I will not hate, and I will not fear in our darkest hour. Hope lingers here, my sister, when equality's gone, my sister, when equality's gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. My brother, with tolerance gone, my brother, with tolerance gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. I will not hate, and I will not fear in our darkest hour. Hope lingers here, my love, when honor is gone, my love, when honor is gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. My country, when justice is gone, my country, when justice is gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. I will not hate, and I will not fear in our darkest hour. Hope lingers here, I will not hate, and I will not fear in our darkest hour. Hope lingers here.
What a beautiful voice. Perfect, perfect, Julie. Thank you. I know that she actually was going to sing that for the second song because she was going to do something else first. But everything works out in divine order. And considering we didn't even have internet this morning, we're doing amazingly well from this moment on. So today we begin a new series, and I'm calling this series From Impediment to Empowerment. And it's a series about how we make obstacles into stepping stones. So I want to encourage you during this series. Now, this is going to sound a little weird, but then you know me. I want you during this series to bring to mind your biggest challenge. And every week when we're together, I want you to bring that challenge to mind, because we have the tools, we have the teaching that helps us to really move through any significant obstacle. Maybe it's in business, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's in health. It can be in any area of your life. Maybe it's in your own personal growth. You're trying to grow in an area, you're trying to accomplish something, you're trying to reach a goal. Whatever it is, bring it with you. It doesn't matter where or what it is. Bring it with you in your mind. You can hold it in your hand. And our teaching helps us move through those challenges. It helps us to move through the obstacles. And when we apply our teachings, that is, it works. When we walk the talk, when we don't just talk about it, but when we actually live it, it's actually part of our daily life. So this series is based on a book. One of our members gave it to me a year ago, just now getting around to it. And the book is entitled The Obstacle is the Way, The Timeless Art of Turning Trials into Triumphs by Ryan Holiday. The Obstacle is the Way. Isn't that an interesting title? The Obstacle is the Way. The main premise in Holiday's book is that no obstacle is too big to overcome. Now, you might be arguing in your mind a little bit about that. You might be saying, well, maybe if he knew what I was going through in my life, if I could just sit him down and talk to him, he would realize that this is one of those that you just can't overcome. Been there, done that. But what I want to share with you is that I believe that we can all accept the challenge to step into the possibility that what the author is saying is totally and absolutely, completely right. It doesn't feel like it right this minute, but are you willing to step into the possibility? I'm hoping you're saying yes. It's hard to tell when I can't see you. Okay, so I want to share a little bit of the foreword from this book because I think it'll help you to understand who it's written for. In the year 170 AD, that's a long time ago, at night in his tent on the front lines in the war in Germania, Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of the Roman Empire, sat down to write. The exact location is not important. What does matter is that this man, known as the last of the 5 good emperors in the Roman Empire, sat down to write. Not for an audience for publication. He wrote for himself to himself. Does that make sense? He wrote for himself. What he wrote is undoubtedly one of the history's most effective formulas for overcoming any situation we may encounter in life. A formula for thriving, not in spite of, but because of what is happening. A formula for thriving, not in spite of, but because of what is happening. That's a pretty big claim, isn't it? It's a formula for thriving, and our actions may be impeded, he says, but there can be no impediment of our disposition. Because if we can accommodate and adapt, the mind converts and adapts to its own purposes the obstacles to our acting. And then he concludes with this important statement. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Say that with me. What stands in the way becomes the way. What stands in the way becomes the way. What Marcus Aurelius is really saying is that he's applying the reverse clause, which means turning obstacles, turning problems upside down, challenges upside down, turning problems upside down, absolutely knowing that even if you don't know how right this minute, there is a way around, over, under, through, there is a solution. And whatever it feels like is blocking your path, whatever that obstacle is, there is a solution, even if you can't see it right this minute. Now, I'm one of those folks who likes to learn from people who have been there. Anybody can read books. I love to read. But it's entirely different hearing something from someone who's experienced something firsthand. So I like to learn from people who have learned in the laboratory of their own life, so to speak. And Marcus Aurelius is one of those individuals. Though he was an emperor, and though he reigned for 19 years, he did not reign in an easy time. There was constant war going on during his reign. His entire area and himself suffered a plague, a major disease. He was betrayed by those close to him. They wanted to knock him off out of power and take his position. There were threats on his life. He suffered many, many significant challenges. And yet he looked at every obstacle, not just as a challenge, but actually as a path to the good that he was seeking, as a path to the good that he was wanting to bring into life. Doesn't that sound like unity to you? It does to me. We look at everything in our lives as an experience or an opportunity to bless us, to teach us, and to grow us. So the book primarily deals with three primary tools on how to reverse clause this problem or obstacle that we think is so insurmountable in our lives, and how to experience this problem or obstacle, not just seeing it as being in the way, but learning to see it as the way to our growth. So the first idea is this: what's most important is not the obstacle or the challenge, but how we perceive it. Secondly, what matters is the energy that we bring into our relationship with it. And third, it's about our staying power, our ability to hold the course. So you could put it into even simpler terms and say it can be distilled down to three key ideas: perception, action, and will. Say that with me: perception, action, and will. And I like how Ryan writes about perception. He says, we must exercise a discipline of perception. Now, I like the word discipline. I know many people don't, because they associate punishment with the word discipline. But discipline comes out of the word disciple. Disciple. And what that means to me is that you let's see. It's based on the idea that you make a decision that you are going to do or be something in a certain way, and it's a no matter what kind of decision. So it is a discipline of following through with what you say you want to think or do. And when you do that, it's actually very freeing. Now, nobody was a bigger, and still to some degree, rebel to any kind of rules, regulations, timeline, whatever. I just couldn't be bothered. I always went around thinking I was taking shortcuts. And my brother said, "You just insist on swimming upstream, don't you?" And I thought, yeah, okay, all right, I got it. So I wasn't all that helpful and good about going with the flow. But the first of the points that I want to share with you is the idea that we must practice objectivity around obstacles, events, and circumstances in our lives, personally and collectively. We want to learn to look at them objectively and not subjectively. Of course, my mind just flashed back on poor old Marcus. I mean, when you think about what was going on during his reign, those 19 years, and you look at what's going on now with the challenges in our nation and the world, it doesn't sound like we've learned much, does it? It sounds like same old. But I want to talk about objectivity versus subjectivity. We must learn to look at things objectively. When we look at something objectively, it's hard for me to say that. We're looking at it as it is. When we engage in something subjectively, we are looking at it as it is and the story that we're telling about it. So, as an example, I lost my job. What is that? That's a statement of fact. Boom, I lost my job. It's a whole lot different than being subjective and saying, well, I lost my job and I probably will never get another job and la, 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 la. And that's the story that we make up. That's the story that we tell ourselves. That is not a healthy way to approach an obstacle. Do you think that will empower you looking for a new job? Not in the least. A lot of you have grown up in similar timeline than me. And if you think back to the old black and white TV, at least it was black and white in our house, to the program Dragnet. Remember Sergeant Joe Friday? And he'd say, just the facts, ma'am, just the facts, just the facts. You know, it's very metaphysical. It's very spiritual, just the facts. No story added, just the facts. So there's spiritual wisdom in that. And it is in perfect alignment with the Buddhist practice that when they experience an event or a situation or anything that goes on, that they do it immediately and directly without the story attached. Sounds a whole lot different when it's a Buddhist practice than it does when it's Sergeant Joe Friday, just the facts, ma'am. But it is the same principle. So part of this discipline of perception is to look at just the facts. And to make sure that when we see the obstacle, we are looking at just the facts. We're not making up any story that goes with it. So that's why I say during this time that we have together in this month, when we're working on this, bring that obstacle with you. Imagine it in your mind, hold it in your hand. However, obviously you can't hold things in your hand, but bring it with you because we're going to work on our ability to be objective. And when we are truly objective about just the facts, ma'am, things change dramatically. And if you have to tell your story about it, make up a good story that goes with it. Instead of, I'll never get another job. Say, this is the most fantastic thing, putting me at liberty. I can try several different things. Make it a happy story. Because the truth of the matter is, you can manifest either one of those stories. The crummy one that says, I'll never get another job. Or, this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I now have liberty to try new things. So we want to be sure that we stay disciplined in our perceptions, that we are seeing only the facts. We're dealing only with the facts. And as a person who loves to build a story, I will tell you from my own experience, it has taken me more years than I want to refer to in public within your hearing to actually get to the point of when my mind starts to do that, to be able to say from my observer self, whoa, 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 where are you going with that? You're going down a dark hole with that. That's not part of what it is. And being able to catch myself a little sooner so I don't have to go through all that horrible thing that was going to happen. So just the facts, ma'am. That's the very positive thing we can do. The second point is to recognize your own power. Recognize your own power. Say, recognize my power. I recognize my power. Together, I recognize my power. Own it. Own it. Say that to yourself. I recognize my power. You are far more powerful than you've ever demonstrated up to now. Now, I'm not discounting any of those exquisite moments that you may have already lived in your life, but I'm saying to you that you are far more powerful than you are aware of. There is a far greater potential than even you are aware of. We've all heard stories over the years. I can't remember any specific ones. I can remember a story. Goes back to when I was a child. A woman, a tiny little woman at that, lifted the back of a car. Now, we're talking about in the 50s and 60s. Cars were heavy. okay, lifted the back of an automobile to free a child that had gotten caught under the wheels. Now that's amazing, is it not? That's power. And then you go back and you do the math. Okay, so she weighed 96 pounds, and this car weighed, well, it's impossible. It's just impossible. She couldn't have done that. Well, to that I say it's a good thing she wasn't doing math at the time. She did what she was called to do by Spirit. And I am convinced in my own mind that Spirit releases the power within us, releases the power within us to do those dramatic things that we must do in some crisis moments. And the power that we have is truly incredible. When we're dealing with an obstacle in our lives and things happen, and what happens is that we start to feel small in comparison to the obstacle. We start to, we talk ourselves down into feeling powerless. I know that's happened to me. I love the short version of the story of David and Goliath. You remember that the Philistines and the Hebrews were, the Israelites were in a battle, and there was between them, and Goliath, their champion, was the giant, and he came out on the field every day and hollered abuse at the Israelites. And the Israelites all kind of standing around, their hands in their pockets and shuffling their feet, and they're going, well, he's so big he could crush us like a Coke can. He's so big, there's no way we can go up against him. Little David comes on the scene, chip, 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 and he is a little kid this time. He's not a full-grown adult yet. He's a teenager, kind of spindly. He comes on the scene and he goes, he's so big I can't miss him. The attitude was totally different. To recognize that you have power within you, and if you choose to call upon it, you will be empowered. You will grow. You got to practice the things that we talk about and not just listen on Sunday and let them go in one ear out the other. The third point is to be in control of our emotions. To be in control of our emotions. Say that. To be in control of our emotions. Now, sometimes in New Thought, we do not like that word control. We do not want to be seen as a controlling person, as a control freak. We don't want that. It doesn't feel good. Controlling sounds like, yeah, we can get the job done that way, but at what price? The price of inner peace and harmony. But you see, in my mind, every behavior has a light and a dark side to it. So in the idea of control, if you will, the light side to me is mastery. It's mastery. So when we talk about being in control of our emotions, we're talking about mastery. It means that when we're angry, we don't deny the anger, but it does mean that we don't go out and ourselves or other people. It means that we learn to work through the anger. I mean, have you ever really tried to deny anger? What happens? It's like a boil and it festers and then it explodes and it's worse than ever. So we don't want to deny the emotion. We don't want to be a slave to the emotion. We identify it, but we're not a slave to it. Now, I'll be the first to say that takes a little bit of practice. Actually, it takes skill. It comes with practice. But we can meditate to gain control over anything, or mastermind, to master our thinking, our thoughts. We do have control and mastery over our thinking. When we deal with a big obstacle or we're faced with a big challenge, for us to realize it's not so big, that we need to go back to the opening statement is, it's not in the way, it is the way. Now, maybe the emotion comes up and it's fear. I know that one real well. So what do? You recognize it. Okay, I feel fear. I feel it in my gut. I'm feeling fear, but it does not mean that I cannot take a step forward anyway. Feel it and still take the step forward. The fourth point is focus on what you can change, not what you cannot. Doesn't that sound like unity? Always focus on what you can change, not what you cannot change. There's a lot of things you cannot change as an individual. There's a lot of things. Have you noticed that? I have. Tell me some of the things that you know you cannot change. First, right off the bat, somebody else. Woo! Give that girl a gold star. That's numero uno in New Thought. What else? The weather. Can you change the weather? How about the economic trends of the day? A lot of things we can't change, but there's so much that we can. And what's important is where we put our focus and energy when we look at those obstacles, not the part that we can't change, but looking at the part that we can change, focusing on what we can change. We can always change our thoughts, right? You think your thoughts. You think your thought. You think it, you made it up. It's in your head. Nobody else was in your head. Now I have to say, there have been times I wish I could blame somebody else for being in my head, for some of my thinking, but it's not a possibility. So unless we focus on what we can change, we're going to stay stuck. Remember that you're bringing this obstacle now with you every week that we're together. So we get to work on what we can change. What are the pieces we can start with? And we can always change our thoughts. You can always change your habits. Those are the out picturing of your thoughts. I remember reading a story about George Clooney, one of the stories when he first went to Hollywood. George, who was such a dapper looking dude, he was just not getting any parts. He was just getting rejection after rejection after rejection. And he started to get depressed and he started thinking, maybe I made a mistake. I shouldn't have come to Hollywood. Maybe I should have just stayed home and been in, community theater or whatever. And he was riding the bus home from another audition, and he didn't feel good about the audition. And he's listening to a couple of people in front of him, and the one guy is saying to the other, well, you just got to find the niche and then find a way to fill it. You just got to find, for every problem, there's a solution. You just got to find it. And he's riding on the bus, and all of a sudden, a light for him, and he goes, well, yeah, every director, every casting agent is looking for someone to solve the problem. They have a need that they need to fill. I am that solution. I am the answer to their problem. And it made a huge turnaround in his thinking and the way that he even carried himself. Now, he did not go into an interview or an audition and say, oh, don't worry about anything. I am the solution to your problem. He didn't do that. But the fact that he came with a different, with confidence, that he came with an inner confidence, an inner knowing that he was the solution. Was the solution to the problem. The problem was they needed to fill a part. He needed a part. He was the solution. And as he did that, it was amazing. The same casting directors that hadn't even looked twice at him the week before are suddenly looking at him with new interest. And from then on, the rest is history. He got one part and then another and then another, and it grew and it mushroomed, but it grew because of the way he changed his thinking. His thinking was, I have the answer. I am the answer to their problem. So what I want you to do is I want you to take your hand, or both hands if you want, and put that obstacle in your hand. And we're gonna do a little bit of affirmative work as we close. There is an energy in the universe way bigger than you. There is an energy in the universe way bigger than you. Say that with me. There's an energy in the universe way bigger than you. Okay. Right where I am is full of wisdom and the power of God. Right where I am is wisdom and the power of God. I know the obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. Together, I know the obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. I want to just have you say that one little piece. Right where I am is full of wisdom and power of God. Right where I am is the full wisdom and power of God. And hold on to that. Can you believe that? Okay, we're going to continue to work with that and we'll get better as we get through. God bless us, everyone. Namaste. Let us prepare for meditation. As we take a breath and we breathe into our being, we're breathing in the peace of God and the life of God. And the peace of God and the life of God fill us completely. Ernest Wilson wrote a beautiful poem called Irradiance. Oh, fill me with thy presence, Lord, that love may shine through me. To quicken that same presence, Lord, in all whose eyes can see. Oh, fill me with thy presence, Lord, that wisdom may be mine. To share thy light with all who need, to let their own light shine. Oh, fill me with thy presence, Lord, to guide what power I wield, that I may ever strengthen good and be from ill a shield. Oh, fill me with thy presence, Lord, but need I longer wait? Thy presence hath been given me to love and radiate. To love and radiate. And in this season of love, let us also think of radiating our love and our light into the community and into the world. When I think light, my soul shines. When my soul shines, the earth is a star. When the earth is a star, I am a true human being. Today, in the quietness of my soul, I find new peace from the wellspring of tranquility. Spiritually, throughout, I am not moved by outer surface events because I am anchored to the calm peace in my soul. You are anchored to the calm peace in your soul. And regardless of what obstacle or situation you may be facing, with God, you have the power to move through it, to move forward. So now, as we move into the silence, we unify our mind with divine mind, and we acknowledge the indwelling, pervasive presence and power of God. Connecting with and including one another, we become one. One voice, one message, uplifting our world in prayer. And we begin in gratitude. Rest in the silence. At the core of my being, I am peace. My peaceful mind swiftly calms turbulent thoughts so that I think clearly. My peaceful heart generously embraces my human family. In peace, I flow from moment to moment with purpose, passion, and persistence. For I am divine peace. As we close this session of prayer, we breathe a breath of appreciation for the truth that renews and refreshes us. Knowing our oneness with God and knowing our divine faculties of harmony, life, strength, and wisdom, we proceed peacefully into the day ahead. For God's light and love, for God's wisdom and guidance, for God's strength and power that fill me so that I may do what is mine to do. I say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. This is the time in our celebration when we prepare our tithes and offerings. And I just wanted to let you know that the year-end giving statements are being mailed out. Now, if you're a person who does their giving online, would you please call the office and give us your address so we may send you your giving letter? You'll want it for doing your taxes, I'm sure. Let us take the gifts that we wish to give today and hold them in our hands as we bless them. There is no lack or limitation. Freely I give, and freely I receive from God's abundance. I am blessed as I give, and unity is blessed in receiving.
Now I've been happy lately, thinking about the good things to come. And I believe it could be something good has begun. And I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one. And I believe it could be someday it's going to come. 'Cause out on the edge of darkness, there rides a peace train. Peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Now I've been smiling lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Ooh-wee, oh, come on the peace train. Peace train, holy roller, everyone jump on the peace train. Ooh-wee, come on the peace train. Now get your bags together, go bring your good friends too, 'cause it's getting nearer, soon it will be with you. Come and join the living. It's not so far from you, and it's getting nearer. Soon it will be true. Now I've been crying lately, thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? Why can't we live in bliss? 'Cause out on the edge of darkness, there lies a peace train. Peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Ooh-wee, come on the peace train. Peace train, holy roller, everyone jump on the peace train. Ooh-wee, oh, come on the peace train.
That was great. I do know that Julie had recorded a hello, a short, brief hello and howdy, because we haven't seen her in living color. But she also wanted to remind us about the Ash Wednesday service, because she will be singing for the Ash Wednesday service. So Ash Wednesday, which is the 17th of this month, we are having our Ash Wednesday service. We have seating, socially responsible seating for 40 people in the chapel, or you can be online with us, and that'll be great. But it's a great program, and Julie will be our musical guest, so that'll be cool. I want to let you know, too, that today we usually have coffee and conversation remotely, but we're not going to be having it today. So this is the only Sunday we're not doing it. But just to let you know, so that if you try and tune in and we're not there, you think, oh dear, something's broken. It's not broken. We're just not going to be able to do it today. Upcoming events. Keep a True Lent is a book by Charles Fillmore, and Reverend Pat Schlick is going to begin teaching on Tuesday, February the 16th at 6:30. You can sign up live for it. There, up to 12 people can be at the center in the fireside room and in the adjoining lobby. So you can sign up and be there live, or you can view it afterwards. There is a registration place, and I'm not sure if it's going to get on the slide or not, but anyway, the fee is $30 payable at the registration time that you do online. And that's on the 16th, and then 17th is Ash Wednesday. Okay. Are there any other announcements that need to be made this morning? No, I think we're good. Okay. So will you join us as we speak as a prayer, the America the Beautiful? Before we do that, though, I forgot. If this is your birthday month or your anniversary month, we would love to celebrate that with you. I will not sing because we will clear the house in a moment, but I do want you to know that you are blessed fully and freely by your spiritual community. We love you dearly, and we wish we could be with you for this special day. So now let's speak together our prayer. O beautiful, compassionate shores, where dreams and hopes are born, where kindness and civility can weather any storm. America, America, God heal this great divide. Let fear release, rekindle peace, till all our hearts unite. You and me, from sea to shining sea. And our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and so it is. See you next week.